Good morning. Today, I'd like to continue our discussion about the 15 invaluable laws of growth, what we're covering in my weekly mastermind groups that meet on Mondays and Fridays. This week, we're talking about the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow. And what we're talking about here is knowing our strengths, our weaknesses, our interests, and our opportunities. And the question that I'm posing to myself and we're posing to each other is, do we really know these things about ourselves? Have we written them down? Have we discussed them with someone who knows us very well? You see, knowing these things about ourselves really kind of creates that starting point and that ending point that kind of outlines and helps define the strategy for growth in our individual lives. But it also does three other things for us. Number one, it helps us make important adjustments in our current situations that will create a greater sense of fulfillment. Remember this. If we are doing something in our jobs or with our time in which we're focusing primarily upon our weaknesses, we're going to find ourselves frustrated. We're going to find ourselves lacking fulfillment. Are there things that we can adjust in our current situations that are better aligned with our strengths, our weaknesses, our interests, and our opportunity? Secondly, it allows us to match our weaknesses with other team members' strengths, moving us away from what frustrates us and to what fulfills us. And so sometimes it's not about changing positions, it's about changing how we live out what we're doing. And when we know our own strengths, our weaknesses, our interests, and our opportunities, we then can utilize our fellow team members differently to where they're helping with our weaknesses, freeing us up to focus upon what we do extremely well. And lastly, it assists us in knowing when it's time to leave something behind to pursue something more in keeping with who we are and where we want to go. I got to tell you, as I grow older, I want to spend more and more time doing what have been gifted and how I've been created and what's going to help me achieve where I want to be. I really don't want to waste time on things that aren't productive in keeping with who I am and where I'm going. Remember, to chart a path of change and growth, we not only need to know where we want to go, but we also need to know where we are. And it's really what separates those two that becomes the strategy of change in our lives. I've kind of been on that journey myself personally. I think about the change I made 25 years in one career and began to think about that I felt based upon my strengths, my weaknesses, my interests, and my opportunities, that sometime in life I wanted to be able to work with nonprofits, businesses, and churches and to really kind of help them through transitions, help them incorporate change. And so I left a very comfortable position that I'd been doing for 25 years and entered into the business world and became a vice president for a company, a wholesaler. What's even unique about that, I felt like doing this work allowed me to do a few things. Number one, develop my own income. Number two, develop business experience. And number three, develop business credibility. But even as I've worked out my own personal growth plan within being a wholesaler for a financial services firm, I am still working this long-range plan. I volunteer a lot in the nonprofit community, practicing the things that I've been learning, things I've been developing, and the things I'm learning in the business community. I'm also have incorporated becoming a John Maxwell teacher, coach, trainer, and I use that within my wholesale business to be able to not only grow my business, but also meet those interests and create those opportunities in my life for the future. My question for you is, do you know your strengths? Do you know your weaknesses? Do you know your interests? And do you know your opportunities? Do you know the changes you need to make in your current position to where you're maximizing who you are and really accomplishing that you're heading toward where you want to go? How are you using your team members with that? And finally, have you found yourself maybe in the wrong position? If you're ever interested in joining one of my mastermind groups, let me know. This is John Dunwell. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.